This is a part 1 to a 2-part series. So this time, July, August, September, there's something that we need to tap into that's far more cosmic, far more galactic. These are galactic alignments in what I am speaking to. So the calendar is a new invention, the one that we're using, the one that is the Gregorian calendar. So let's tap into ancient, nay, maybe even primordial and cosmic truths. When there is so much mainstream stuff coming out about something like the Lionsgate portal, that's when I begin to get really skeptical and move into deeper reflection. What lies beyond surface level spiritual jargon? Did a Lionsgate concept really come from the region of what is now known as Egypt? And Egypt really isn't the right word. We'll go into that. What are the galactic truths behind this all? Is this celestial event that people call the Lionsgate portal connected to some physical Lion's Gate in the city of Jerusalem? Is it a trap? We'll dive into those questions and more. As a holder of original creation codes, my quest is to go into the why, go into the what. Come swim deep in the waters of the unknown with me to get some answers. Take a moment to step in to the realm of sacred knowing. Let's imagine together that we're gathering around the eternal flames of the sacred fire once again. Close your eyes if you can. Let us bask in its radiant glow, for it illuminates not only the night sky, but also our souls. And in this enchanted space, we are transported to primordial times, where tales of wonder and magic were woven into the very fabric of existence. The warmth of the fire caresses our spirits, beckoning us to share stories of our journeys and quests. Thank you, and you can open your eyes. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Hello to Awakening Magic. If you're returning, thank you. Thank you for being here again and for watching and for supporting. I serve as a sacred soul path illuminator, an oracle of original creation. I am a primordial wisdom story keeper, and I am a vibrational medicine guide, the quest and to the mission that I'm bringing through. I assist those that have sacred missions to launch them. I do sacred soul healing through vibrational medicine, and I'm a holder of origin codes, and I'm an oracle, which means I'm a seer. There may be many ways that we can connect further. So see down below, there's a Telegram group. There's also one-to-one sessions that I do. So a lot of ways to connect. If we vibrate on the same frequency, perhaps there's some way that I can support your journey. We're going to delve into galactic alignments because this time in July and August and moving further beyond that, it's powerful for very many reasons, and these are truly cosmic alignments that we're entering. And this, a multidimensional way to see time, has been hidden. And then there's the further aspect of the solar calendar, or the sun calendar, is also an organic tracking mechanism that tapped into galactic energies and then anchored them here into this realm that we call Earth. And then, of course, its ascended forms, Terra and Gaia. Yet, what is the truth of how primordial ones, original ones, ancient ones, our ancestors, us, if we were in timelines of those other timelines, how did they track seasons, cycles, etc.? So I have brought to life a workshop series, activation, fun, gathering series, celebrations for the Wheel of the Year, because that is the organic solar or sun calendar. And you can check that more here. But there's so much more to talk about. Why was the Wheel of the Year even created? It was created because of something that it was connecting into, not only just the sun, but something bigger, cosmic, galactic. The galactic time is truly a magical way to connect into how we, and of course in all living things, connect with the sun, the life-giving force. There is a galactic year, which many of you probably already know, but that's part of what I need to talk about today. So that anchors in at the same time as the Sirius gateway, the Sirius star system. We're going to get more into that shortly, as the heliacal rising of the star Sirius gives us a reference point to orient like a new yearly journey, essentially. This connection into galactic time is really quite astounding, as it also gives us back the lost and hidden purposely. 13 months of 28 days each. 13 moons, as it's often called. 13 moons, 13 months, we could say, and 28 days each. Okay, so this is a universal reflection of natural harmony. The Wheel of the Year, created by the Celtic Druids and the pre-Celtic Druids, the Druids, I would say, but we'll get into that into a moment as well, connected into this. So for way over 5,000 years, and we can go way further back, but I just don't think these dates are really even important, because the way that they're portrayed aren't actually accurate anyway. Like, we're not in 2024, but that's a whole other video. So the 13 moon and 28 day calendar relates to this time that we're going to dive into. And this was followed by the Essenes, the Celtic Druids, and the pre-Celtic Druid lineages. And that is actually where the eightfold Wheel of the Year sun calendar came from. But I'm talking about the true and original Druids, the ones that were eradicated and then replaced by invading vile imposters that did horrid things and said they were Druids. So I think that's really important for me to clarify every time I say Druids. Chinese, the ancient Egyptians, the Polynesians, the Maya, Inca, several Native American or First Nations tribes, they all used this galactic measuring of the year and the anchoring of the solar calendar. Now, the Lakota actually kept this intact based on the Kea, or the turtle, since the turtle reflects the natural order with the 13 scales on its back. So this 13 is and has been hidden. And there's more to that even that we're going to discover and I'll unfold later. But wow, there is so much to share, but that's enough for now on all of that. Let's move on. Okay, the date that just passed, 8/8 or August 8th, and this is an 8 year because it's 2024 and 2024, add those up, it's 8. So it's an 888 year. And of course, this happens anytime that the year lines up to an 8. 2024 happens to be one of those. But this time right now, the true cosmic events as connecting into their origin and galactic meanings, from my lens and knowing, there's just so much more to discover and really tap into. So again, the mainstream Gregorian calendar is a new and inorganic invention that has really taken us out of true cosmic and galactic time and has taken us totally out of rhythm with the sun and away from the true organic sun solar calendar. And like I mentioned, when there's just too much mainstream stuff coming out about something, which in this case is this thing that has been called the Lionsgate portal, that is when I begin to get super skeptical. I just need to step back. There's origin codes coming in, needed to reflect a lot deeper on this. I can't believe how much mainstream media there is that comes out about Lionsgate Portal. It's crazy. We're really diving into deeper truths around this July, August, this powerful time frame, and begin to pick apart this huge topic. So that's why this is part 1. First, we really need to dive into the royal star that we call Sirius, which has also been known as the son of our sun, or a spiritual sun connected to our sun. And our sun is often called Sol, S-O-L, of course, very close to the word soul, S-O-U-L, isn't it? More on that another time, but there's a lot of meaning there to tap into. Sirius is a 3-star system. We call Sirius A and Sirius B, but there's a 3rd star that has yet to be fully discovered, a Sirius C, I guess we could say. The Dogon tribe is an indigenous nation living in the parts of West Africa since ancient times, going back many, many thousands of years. How many, we don't know. But they've counted Sirius as part of their sacred creation stories of their wisdom keepers. They mention that their people came from Sirius. And if you haven't watched my video yet called Sirius B, Wisdom Keepers in the Blu-ray, that video will delve more into that topic if you'd like to watch that. The Dogon tribe claimed this quite a long time ago, saying that there's a 3rd star in this Sirius system that has yet to be discovered. And we can very easily see the Sirius A and Sirius B stars with our naked eyes, of course, and with telescopes. But this system carries codes of magic, primordial wisdom, and is part of the Guardian Founder races. So the races that are within these systems. The feline and leonine races, the nomos, mer lineage, mermaids, for example, the cetaceans, which are dolphins, whales, and of course this also includes those of us who remember and know and have come from Lyra. Now I speak quite often of my connection to the brotherhood, we can say, of the great white lions, and the lineage and sisterhood of the goddess, lioness, warrior, healer lineage. This is a seer lineage, oracle, warrior, healer lineage. We're connected to Lyra, and then so much more. But I've also spent dream time with the Syrian blue race of beings. So there's so much to say about Sirius as a whole. But I just wanted to drop this insight up to this point as we're speaking of a system that holds much wisdom of original creation truths, spiritual evolution, awakening guardian codes within many of us and our DNA, and so much more. Okay, so what really happens in what we have named July and August? Because remember, one of the most important factors from the arc of light that I carry is that the words July and August and the correlating number to those held absolutely zero meaning in primordial times, ancient times, which are the roots of the sources of these celestial events, is this time frame of July and August, right? So to tap into the roots of what these celestial events mean, we really have to see beyond. We have to look through. We have to look at the energy that's rippling underneath these modern conventions that covered up or hid or were layered on top of what was there previously. So these month names, we could say, are much later inventions. So the whole Lionsgate portal is often attached to the August 8th or 8/8 date, and it's considered significant in numerology, as I talked about a little bit before, because of course the number 8, when you invert it sideways, it represents infinity. There's a lot more to that than just that, but that's one aspect, right? So the numerology part is absolutely true about the 8 symbology. The August 8th aspect actually wasn't really a thing in ancient times, though, was it? Because that didn't exist. So a celestial event wouldn't really be tied to August nor 8/8. So that's really a piece that's connecting into original creation energies of the events and the galactic gateways and things that are opening. and the energies behind the cosmic event really mean. So, because the calendar that we have right now did not exist previously. So to fix this whole Lionsgate portal thing, there could just be an 8/8 event, because that's more of a modern spin, so people could tap into what the 8 represents and the beauty of that and dive into that number. That would be more clear, I think. But to me, and the arc of light that I carry, there's a lot more to uncover. So before this modern calendar has been used, which, by the way, was created by a very evil pope, and that's like another story. But the way things were laid out, everything was looking at more of a cycle. The whole evil pope aspect, of course, is a totally other storytelling that needs to take place another time. However, you can learn a bit about the original and organic solar calendar in my video that's called Original Creation Magic and the Organic 8-fold Sun Calendar. That is the wheel of the year, by the way. So now, according to this Gregorian inorganic calendar and this tracking mechanism that's used, in the month that we call July every year, what is really actually taking place is that there's a sacred gateway of energy that's activated between Earth and the Sirius system and our sun, bringing heightened frequencies that carry codes via the vibrations, which really means codes or activations of spiritual advancement. Now, when this gateway is activated, it is highly potent time on Earth, a time where things rise, awakenings, downloads come in, and that's why Sirius is often referred to as Earth's spiritual sun. Ancient cultures like the Mayans, of course, and many more, as I mentioned previously, also kept original creation time, where July 26th is also the start of a galactic new year, the beginning of a new cycle of time creation, or as they called it, the sacred year. So a few years ago, I sat and connected deeply with the sun and saw Sirian codes coming through our sun and into our realm. I saw and I felt those codes awakening within me. When feeling into this, I knew innately what it was doing is switching on DNA. And I felt that deep within me due to new information that was coming into my field. And I knew that, okay, this is what happens during this time. Of course, many of you already know, as you well know, our soul, our sun, is sending in awakening codes into our realm through and into the sacred lands, the energetic grid, the organic grid, by the way. And this is happening more and more frequently. But July really begins this to send in a rise in codes from Sirius to our sun, and then by way of our sun to what we call Earth, our mama, Pachamama, Gaia, etc. I'll have to talk more in depth about all those codes and things that I saw another time, but Sirian and benevolent beings of that realm or that system are helping to guide humanity on the path of evolution into a new octave. It's what many have also called ascension. Then we come into what we call the August time frame, and what's happening in this time frame when our sun rises. So on August 7th, it continues to rise about a minute later each day in the northern hemisphere. So as the Earth proceeds along its orbital path from Letha, which is also called summer solstice, which is in June, as we know, and then on towards Mabon, or the autumn equinox, which is September. And then ultimately, it moves on even into winter solstice, December. And of course, these are northern hemisphere reference points, but we could do it backwards and do it with some southern hemisphere too. What I'm really talking about is the heliacal rising of Sirius. And it doesn't really matter what hemisphere, because this is an activation and it's a time that the ancient ones knew and tracked and followed for profound reasons beyond what was deemed a Lionsgate portal. The heliacal rising of a star or a planet occurs annually when it first becomes visible above the eastern horizon at dawn, just before sunrise, after a complete orbit of the Earth around the sun. So before its heliacal rise, the sun was rising earlier than the star that we call Sirius. But as Sirius rises earlier and earlier, eventually it actually rises earlier than the sun. So it really it becomes like a sun, doesn't it? It keeps rising earlier and earlier, and it will continue to rise into the night and further ahead of sunrise even. So when Sirius first begins to rise earlier than the sun, the sky is actually still too bright to really even be able to observe with our naked eyes. This means it rises in conjunction at sunrise. We could say in the northern hemisphere, especially over the region that's now known as Egypt, and was connected at the same time that the Nile, some say Nile, but I've actually found that the proper way to say the Nile River. So this essence of rising and awakening, lifting, holds much meaning. To the ancient ones in that region that we call now Egypt, this represented the renewal of abundance for another cycle, but it's way more than that too. We're going to get deeper. Okay, so the so-called Lion's Gate portal is said to exist because of a celestial alignment between the sun in Leo and then the alignment of our sun with Sirius. But as noted previously, it's more than an alignment with Sirius, as all of us ancient mystics already knew and know. The system now known as Sirius fuels our sun with light and spiritual wisdom. And as I mentioned before, the codes and activations, etc. And this has been reflected by, of course, even my feeling and experiencing and seeing the codes literally coming in through our sun into the earthly realm, into my body. I've been able to witness that in that way. But the troublesome aspect of the Lion's Gate is that the sun doesn't always move into the lion, meaning the Leo constellation, at the time of 8/8, as is so widely believed. So there's a lot of mismatching things happening. If we want to really tap into the cosmic energies, it's a great way to go deeper and really go into some hidden cosmology. So let's go there next. Some hidden cosmology points. Okay. So the whole Lion's Gate portal event is also supposed to be about the fact that the sun moves into the Leo constellation. And it's usually said that the sun enters Leo at the time of the 8/8. But is that actually true? Short answer, nope, it's not. The longer answer is sometimes. Okay, so here's why. All right, so we need to tap into sidereal astrology. Sidereal astrology, which is actually what I utilize, and I'm really deep diving into learning that so that I can soon do charts and such for my clients. But the sidereal astrological system utilizes the constellations as to what's actually happening in the sky at a current moment. Sidereal astrology taps into that right now. Also, it brings back the 13th sign that was eradicated at some point, Ophiuchus. As I delve into original creation codes, anything that's eradicated, left out, it's what we need to know. And this goes for any topic, right? We always must know what has been hidden, what has been left out purposely, what has been lost, or even, of course, eradicated purposely. So I have an article called Opening the Cosmic Curtain, A Journey into Hidden Cosmology, which you can review and learn the angle that I'm coming in around as to what has been veiled around that 13th zodiac sign. That's really important. 13 is really important for a million reasons that I can't get into all of them right now. But the sun right now, like as this video went out, this time I'm creating this around August 20th, 2024, to serve as an example. So on August 8th, the sun didn't even move into Leo. Nope. Therefore, the aspect of the whole Lion's Gate portal thing happening on 8/8, it's not what's happening. This year, if we look at to what's really happening in our sky realm, the sun didn't move into Leo until August 19th. So just by going along with these aspects of what's really happening in our sky, the Lion's Gate portal totally gets flipped on its head a bit. So that's why tapping into ancient truths underneath these things and looking at sidereal cosmology, tracking what's actually going on in the sky, can really keep these kinds of celestial goings on way more accurate. And to me, it's really important because we need to feel and really tap into the true, primordial, sacred, origin, real, original energies, not fabricated energies. So also, August 8th is an entryway. It's not to a said Lion's Gate, but the real gateway is really connecting into Sirius and really begins in July, moves into August. And to be more accurate, we could say the Sirius gateway, the heliacal rising of Sirius, opens in July on a galactic level, cosmic, celestial. We're talking, connecting into these big energies. And then what we can do is watch to see what actually happens in a given time frame with our sun when it moves into the Leo constellation. That's when a deeper connection to Leo or the Lion aspect can actually be added into the energies. So the energies of what the ancients were actually tapping into in this time frame, July, August, it's just something so much more. And again, as we went over, the word rise is so important, but we're going to get into more on that in a moment too. So the next question that really comes up a lot is Lion's Gate connected to the gates of Jerusalem. Is it a trap? All right. So I've seen some content that comes out that speaks on the Lion's Gate as being a trap. And it's very important, by the way, to look at things so much more deeply, relearn most things taught in our silly his storybooks. But sometimes there isn't deep enough research being done. And then what happens is we can be taken off track, right? We can miss these times of tapping into truly powerful energies like altogether. But when we look in at deeper roots, especially the etymology of things, etymology, this can really help to clarify, because so many translations just are wrong or not understood. Many have come across the fact that there is a physical representation of what's said to be a Lion's Gate in Jerusalem. But when we actually look at translations of that gate that is talked about and the symbology that's connected to it, at its root, it's also called the Gate of Tribes. And later, under religious undertones, then it was called St. Stephen's Gate, and then there's a myriad of other names. So if we take the name of the gate as being the Gate of Tribes, for example, and we really look more deeply at the image being shown on one of the 12 doorways or gates, the entryway to one of the gates that has been tagged as being the Lion's Gate has 4 of these animal carvings. There's 2 on the left of the gate and 2 on the right. The issue is that these aren't lions, are they? Many call them jaguars or leopards. That's really mostly what is interpreted from this. So the translation isn't really coming through properly. Something's missing from that original interpretation. Therefore, when we look at the translations and then you also look at the carving, we can see that the celestial event and the physical gate, no, they don't. From my arc of light, I don't see any correlation here. It's this entire topic of the gates of Jerusalem, it does deserve a deeper dive for me to share, because there's 12 gates in the Gate of Tribes, and that is connected to something deeper. But I don't see this as connected to a celestial, a galactic event, per se. At least not the thing that they're calling the Lion's Gate. So getting into original creation, there were original 12 Essene tribes. These tribes seeded Earth. That's all I will say for now, but I'll go into that in one of my future longer form classes that will be available in our sanctum that's coming soon. But I just wanted to drop that here so that you can go on a journey to dispel any facets that don't resonate about the physical gate and the celestial event being connected. Now, the point that I want to say to about, is it a trap? Well, trap isn't really a great word to use, but I see this, the way I see this from my arc of light, from my lens. When the energies around the true celestial meaning can be parsed out and felt, that's important. For me, when there's some kind of celestial event that goes mainstream, that's equating to manifest your desires, Well, what I feel that we must ask ourselves is, what are we manifesting? What is the angle of the intention and related emotions behind the said manifesting? We always must feel into the angle of energy that is not of a greedy, jealous emotion. These are some of the lowest of low frequencies. Anything created out of greed or jealousy, etc., is, my friends, a trap. It's because those vibrations are not being birthed from love. So that is an aspect that I believe is really important to discuss around the time frame that is talked about, Lionsgate. So now let's go into some deeper things. What's the region we now call Egypt, and what is the connection to the time frame discussed as Lionsgate? The larger connection is to the Sirius energetic gateway and the lands that we now call Egypt. But that word Egypt isn't the word that was actually used for the entire country or that entire region. That larger region was known in a before time as Khemit, spelled many different ways. I am saying it as Khemit, but you have seen it as Kemet. But there is much importance of the star Sirius to the ancients of Khemit. It was an ancient civilization predating Sumer, Babylon, and what we know as dynastic Egypt. Khemit held highly advanced wisdom of astronomy, cosmology, mathematics that we call mathematics, what we call science. I would say cosmic technology that we mistake for magic. So this is Khemit, but I say also a before time, as Khemit connects into a time when that region was not corrupted by forces. Again, we have this invasion aspect that we always come back to because that is part of original creation truths that we just have to know. So these forces began to destroy the natural elements of those lands. And when I say natural elements, I also mean the energetic organic grid of this container that we call Earth. It's an energetic, sentient, life-giving source. So they began to destroy those natural elements. The name Khemit has deep meaning in the soil. And this is actually where the word alchemy comes in as well. But Kem, K-E-M, means black, and the soil is black and very, very fertile. And the very fertile soil is created from the Nile, or the Nile River. There's a wonderful book called The Land of Osiris. It's filled with indigenous wisdom that was taught to the writer, that was orally passed down by a man named Abd el-Hakim Awiyan. As he points out, Egypt is a word that later came. So it was a later invention from a root word het-ka, which essentially means the place of the projection of the god Ptah. It was just one little region, one little part, not the whole country. So the ancients and indigenous humans of those lands referred to the entire country as Kemet, K-M-T, including Al-Chem. See, Al-Chem, alchemy. Kemet literally means the black land, refers to the rich black fertile soil deposited by the Nile River that makes agriculture even possible in that region. So the primordial humans of those lands of Kemet aligned their monuments and sacred buildings toward the rising points of some bright stars that we well know, like Sirius, Canopus, and other stars, and namely those that are in the constellation Ursa Major or the Big Bear. And that's where they aligned temples and pyramids with cardinal points. And this connection into Sirius, again, it's because Syrian beings, guardian founder beings, assisted to build the pyramids all over the world, but also in that region, of course. I'll have to go into that into upcoming sessions in our sanctum. Sirius is also connected to Isis and Osiris and was identified with the celestial bow and arrow. So as this imagery is depicting, there's imagery in Khemit, or aka Egypt, depicting stars that we associate with the lower legs of the constellation Canis Major, with a drawn bow, as in a bow and arrow, pointing to Sirius, which became the arrow star at some point. So the bow pointing to Sirius is confirmed by its depiction in ancient imagery found, like this round zodiac at Dendera. Now, because of the heliacal rise of Sirius in what we call mid-August each year, this was a signal from the natural world that the mighty Nile River was about to flood. Sirius continues to rise, so there's ceremonies that are celebrating the annual flood that still occur today. So the river provides that rich, fertile, black soil, has even deeper meanings that we're going to touch upon, but that has to come in the part 2 to this video. So I'll hope you come back and watch that. But in conclusion, for this part 1, because I could go on and on, there are varying ways to tap into the energies that are still rising right now. If you're watching this at a later point, just write this down and remember for next year. It's important to understand the true origin or organic energies again, and galactically tapping into energies, celestial energies, anchoring them down into our grid, into our beings through us, because we serve as bridges. The first thing, tap into the heliacal rising of Sirius. Connect with the sun and the codes that are coming in. What do they say? What do you feel? Talk to your DNA. That's your universe. What are you being activated for right now? Because there's activations happening, right? So as the Nile rises, that is about tapping into the mother frequency. The blue ray of creation is the cosmic mother. What does this energy have for you? Think of unconditional love for yourself. For example, tap into the gratitude of abundance. And this is very interesting because this connects perfectly into the solar calendar as well, because August 1st or 2nd, in the ancient Celtic, pre-Celtic times, Lunaza was celebrated that focused on this aspect. Gratitude for the first harvest, rising energies to produce those first harvest fruits and barley and things of this nature. All of these connect together. When we rise, we see this really beautiful tapestry that's being woven. And so if you want to see the celebration that we had for Lunaza in the series that I spoke of, the energetic connection is still here, still available. There's a link below in the description. And be ready for next year. Look at the aspect maybe of the 8-8. Maybe you just decide not connecting into Lionsgate aspect because there's just so much more. And then another powerful thing is, if you haven't yet, look into sidereal astrology. Know when the sun is actually moving into Leo, because then there is an actual Sirius and Lion connection, because you have Leo and Sirius aligning with our sun. But it's not going to be on 8-8 all the time. It's just that sidereal astrology gives you that anchor to know what's really happening in the sky. And then, as I mentioned, there's going to be much more coming in part 2 about the Nile River and Khemit. And really, there's just so much more that expands upon what I mentioned previously, that the Nile River is actually connecting in to Cosmic Mother. We'll go into that and so much more. So for now, I hope that this part 1 helps to lift up or rise up more of the primordial meanings of the galactic times that we call July, August, in general for all of us all over the world, and truly can inspire an awakening of more of your magic. Please to subscribe to get more primordial and healing wisdom that's meant to illuminate the path for indigos, starseeds, all humans who are here with sacred missions, because we serve as the pioneers in this massive paradigm shift of consciousness, and together we are remembering original creation magic. Thank you for watching.